The Ebola outbreak in West Africa caused a massive fear of a global crisis, one of the biggest scares we have had in years, but it doesn't compare to the plague. Due to the time periods it was around, poor hygiene, and the lack of treatment, the plague was one of the deadliest and uncontrollable diseases ever. It's first thought to have originated in China and was spread by infected fleas living on rats. It struck in 3 major pandemics, the most devastating being the second, which started in the 14th century and carried on right up to the 19th century. During those times, the plague had the potential to wipe out the entire human race, and at the time, people thought that was going to be the outcome. The disease existed in 2 main varieties, one contracted by flea bites and the other airborne, but it could also be caught by coming into contact with bodily fluids of those who were infected, and once infected, death came within a few days. Things got really bad. It wiped out half of China's population, 60% of Europe's, and 1/8 of Africa's. It killed most doctors and thousands of villages were abandoned. All in all, it's estimated to have killed up to 200 million people. Luckily for the human race though, transport at that time was very limited, so the spread of the disease was largely contained within communities. But had it also spread as bad as it did in Europe to other parts of the world, then things would have been a whole lot worse. Over time, the amount of infected people massively declined, and although it's still out there today, only a few thousand cases a year are reported, and if caught within the first day, antibiotics can prevent death. Historians have said that if the plague peaked a few hundred years later, when travel was much more sophisticated, the impact would have been much more devastating and could well have wiped out the human race.